I found the snail. I dropped the snail. I can't find the snail. So as you can see then, we've gone from bean famine to bean feast over the last few weeks. So this week we're having to find space for the latest little bean seedlings. So, you know, it was fine. I had space for a few in this bed, but then it was a case of finding space elsewhere. So I got a couple in at the bed at the end, and then I had to really try. So there's even a couple in the herb bed. And of course, all the usual tidying up, deadheading, all of that. And I was collecting some seeds and sowing some seeds. So, you know, another busy week. Thunder. Some land cress. So, deadheading my really straggly looking sunflower. The slugs and the snails just decimate these. So we do our best, but yeah. But anyways, bringing you over, so normally Kate talks about this stuff, but my dahlias, in terms of deadheading I'm getting mugged by snapdragons here. Deadheading the dahlias, there's a trick to it, and Kate taught me this because I couldn't work it out. So you see different types of buds. This bud is very, very round. That's a new flower bud. These ones are quite elongated and cone-shaped. That's the spent flowers. So you want to cut them off so you get new flowers. But you also want to cut them all the way down. So if I take this one, I don't want to just take that bud off. I want to follow the stem all the way down until it joins at the leaf node where there's two leaves, and I'm going to cut it there because that will encourage new stems. When you cut down there, it will put out two new stems and you'll get two flowers from that. So that's why we do it that way. So do we deadhead everything? Well, technically no. Put it this way, right? Yes, you can, and it looks loads better. And you'll have heard this so often. People will tell you, make sure you pick all the beans so that the plant produces more flowers and then more beans. And that's one of the reasons we do it. So it looks nice and tidy. You've taken all the dead stuff off, but also it encourages the plant to produce more flowers because the plant didn't get to make the seeds it wanted. We don't do it with every plant though, because you might want to save seeds, and that's called letting them go to seed. You basically leave the seed pods and let it all develop, and then you can collect those seeds when they're ready. And I'm going to do that because I'm collecting seeds from my foxgloves. So yeah, it looks awful. I've left a big spike to go to seed, but now I'll get thousands of seeds. So as you can see, it's quite big, so I've got a few envelopes and I'll do it in bits. Wherever it drops seeds, it will probably take. These guys can grow just about anywhere. They are fully hardy here in this environment. But I want a bit of control of where I'm going to plant it. So I'm going to collect the seeds and I'm going to plant them on purpose. So envelope. Now, I've only got these ones, which is not ideal. You're better with something longer, because... So I'm going to do my best. And the idea being, I'm going to disturb it as little as possible, because those seeds fall very easily and they're tiny. Hence the envelope, because they'll now fall in there and they're caught. That easy, and I can use them later. So if you don't want foxglove seeds self-seeding everywhere and you don't want to save them, chop off those flower spikes when they're finished flowering. The thing with all that deadheading is it's loads for the compost bin, but I can't chop it up because these are filthy and aren't opening and closing and need sharpened. So that's next. And I may as well do my secateurs at the same time. You can get these little stones for cleaning all of the gunk off your tools, because it's all the sap from the plants that basically creates thick layers that's sticky. And this, a wee bit of oil in your stone will take all that off. It's on the link on our page with all the other stuff, or a bit of wire wool does the same job. Make sure you give it a good wipe before you start sharpening. One, because they're filthy and that'll get into your sharpening tool, but you want to get rid of that oil as well, because it's slidey. And if you're sharpening something, sensible. I've got my little Sharp Pal pocket sharpening tool. You guys know I love this thing. And it's just a case of following the edge. If you've never done this before and you fancy learning how to sharpen your own tools, I did a full video about this, so I'll put it in a link in the description. But that's it. Much better. This place is an absolute pigsty and I'm in the middle of cleaning it. You should see out there, that's worse. But I've realised I installed shades in the greenhouse last year because we realised that the peppers were getting scalded by the sun and I lost loads of peppers. So I installed shades. So they're doing an awesome job, but I'm still getting the odd pepper is getting hit by a sunbeam and is getting burnt, just because the shades leave a little bit of a gap and sometimes it gets them. So all I'm doing is I'm going to make sure I can get all of them out of here so they don't get any worse. Kate's about to do a big batch of cooking anyway, so it's all going to get cooked up tomorrow. So I'm going to take them out now, just so they're not in the sun. Just before anything gets past using. Okay. I don't even know if this is going to work. Kate's mowing the lawn right outside. She's been dying to do it all day, so I didn't want to ask her to stop. We'll do our best. Fingers crossed. So what I'm doing is I'm going to sow some more basil because my plant just was looking awful and I had no aphids and just blech. So I'm going to risk sowing some more because it is still roasting and really bright and stuff, and I'm just going to risk it. Might work, might not work. Here we go, we'll find out. But I'm going to sow it straight into the chilli grow pots where I'm actually going to grow them. I've done this before and it's actually worked really, really well. You just have to remember, until the proper little plants with proper root systems, you need to water from above because they can't get to the water yet, okay? But it does work. So that's all I'm doing just now. So I need some potting mix, which is over here. I need to get in that. This is ridiculous. Okay. You may be royally confused because that tub says compost, but you can see this is ready-made potting mix. It is just because I had made a big batch up and then didn't use it, so I just put it back in the box. So I'll probably get another few scoops worth and then we'll get back to the normal compost because this is just sitting on top. Okay. So it is exactly the same as normal in terms of your quad grow. So I've got the feeder mat in here, it's pre-soaked, and I'm going to fill with soil like I would if I was actually putting a plant in here. And just to remember, folks, I always remind you guys, this is me doing my thing. This is not how the people who make quad grows and chili grows tell you to use them. This is just me finding ways that work for me. And I've been using these for a long time, so I've worked it out. These are tomato plant seedlings. Because I didn't get my hot bin hot enough this last time round, and I am just getting so many tomato plant seedlings everywhere that I've used compost. It's quite amusing. And it's always tomato plants. So while we're about weeding and deadheading, if you use your own compost, you'll know this one. How come it's always tomato seedlings?
Oh, not again.
Look. Okay. Would you look at that? Right. God, it's roasting in here. And I'm stuck. All of this to go and get a watering can of water because I'm going to sow tiny little seeds on the surface. So I'm going to absolutely drench this. Not, well, you know what I mean. I'm going to give this a really, really good water because I don't want to water from the top when it's little tiny seeds because it'll just scatter them everywhere. Okay. Oh, and then I'm going to put this back in the quad grow, or sorry, the chili grow, and let it soak into there. And I'll apologise, there is no space for fancy camera angles. You're currently looking at my knees, I think. At least I hope it's my knees. There's a whole other channel for that sort of thing. And oh God, I best just do this. Just to clear up confusion, no, we do not have another channel for that type of thing. I was referring to the other platform. Is it just for fans? Only fans, the rude one. We don't have one of them. It was a joke. Right. This is just ridiculous. This is just stupidly hot in here. Oh, okay. Just going to do a really thin sprinkle. And we'll see. Okay, there wasn't many left in that. And we'll just see how many it'll take. I'm going to just do the tiniest light dusting of soil on top. They have been watered in and then we just wait. And in case you're wondering, we just chopped back the tarragon as well because it was just mental and it was going everywhere. So we'll use it in cooking tonight. And I'm going to chop back the dill as well. I'm getting out of here, it's far too hot. It is time for the big taste test. I'm going to get napkins.
Do you want a knife as well? So we can, just so that we can just use half of each tomato rather than a whole tomato each. You don't need to cut. You need to cut.
So we have the napkins, of course. Quite often we end up wearing the tomatoes.
And I'm not doing any more bloody laundry today.
We have tomatoes from the greenhouse in the brown dishes, and tomatoes.
So you remember to separate them. So you can.
I'll explain this in a second. Tomatoes in the white dishes are from outside. Quite exciting because we now have Ola Polka from outside and Lata from outside.
Parker likes the look of that. Do you want to do that again?
1 second. At least it didn't split.
True.
Okay,
Take two.
Take two. Or we could just leave that in. And from the greenhouse, we have Ola Polka and Lata, but we also have rock caption. The outdoor tomatoes, not, well, there's one that's kind of almost there, but not right. And this is weird because I'm sitting, it's not how I sit on the couch. We did a taste test before when we only had Lata from outdoors in the greenhouse and Ola Polka from the greenhouse. Mm-hmm. And we did a wee taste test for the Patreons and it was quite eye-opening. So we thought because we've got more now, we'll do some more. So what would you like to do first? I know what you're going to say. Go on.
Well, I'm started.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to go for the Lata.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just brilliant to show. This is the Ola Polka from outdoors. That's the greenhouse. So here's an amazing thing. The outdoor tomatoes are bigger, which I wouldn't expect.
No.
They're also more of an orangey colour than the yellow. The skin is much more translucent looking, so I suspect these are very watery and they're all swollen and the skin's translucent because of the heavy downpours of rain.
Oh, could be. I hadn't thought of that.
So I suspect. So I think these might be watery compared to the greenhouse one.
Okay.
So, will we do outdoors first or greenhouse first?
Outdoor. Okay. Oh, yeah. So that looks quite...
Yeah, it looks a tiny bit. In fact, let me do this one just so we can compare them. You can see straight away which one's which. So. Yeah, so the skin on the greenhouse one is much thicker. There's much more flesh on it. And that is the outdoor one. Now I'm going to come and show you guys. This is the outdoor and this is the greenhouse. So you can see the one from outdoors has got a lot more of the liquidy or jelly seed kind of stuff. I don't know, it's got a proper name, don't know what it is.
Look it up.
Greenhouse one's got all the flesh. I'll look it up and put it on the screen for you. Okay, outdoor first.
Okay.
But nothing.
Doesn't really taste of anything.
Watery. Right, greenhouse one.
We should have been rinsing between tasting.
With wine.
Well, maybe not with wine. It's a bit early in the day.
The greenhouse one is more acidic.
It definitely has a flavour. I don't know how I would describe it.
I'm still not blown away.
No, but it's got more flavour.
It's
than the
got
outdoor
way
one.
more. I think it is the deluge of rain.
It's just me.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I can control what goes on in the greenhouse. I can't control the outdoors. And in Scotland, we get a lot of rain normally. Not necessarily huge, big tropical storms, but it rains
usually
very,
regular.
very often, like multiple times a day, most days. So yeah, so I suspect
There's just too much water.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest though, I don't think they're anything to write home about.
No.
And people online, on Instagram, everyone was raving about Olapolka. Because it was a big excitement when I said we were growing them, but I'm not impressed.
No. It's not
They're
unpleasant.
all right.
It's
They're not. I've tasted better tomatoes.
Yeah.
If you've got minimum space, you want the tomatoes that blow you away.
Mhm.
Right, well we do Lata next because we got
Both of those.
so
Okay.
greenhouse and outdoors. Variety of sizes, as you can see, but also they're not perfectly round. They're all this
They've got that slight.
slight squat. A bit like myself, they're short and wide. I didn't see that. Yeah, these are the same.
Yeah, I would
And
say
it-
visually there's not a lot of difference. Lata's the one that does the whole.
Yeah, Lata's
Swelling.
the one that just goes.
It's very descriptive, dear.
So, what I want to do with these though, because we've got small ones and slightly larger ones for both, and I wonder if there'll be a difference, if they'll be more intense because they're smaller.
Okay.
So let's start with small ones that are about the same size. Now again, feeling these, if I get similar sizes, the outdoor one is softer than the greenhouse one. So again, I suspect it's more water content, don't mix them up.
That's the greenhouse one. I think. Sorry.
I did it last time.
Love you.
Oh, that one's split.
Ow.
So again, another sign of inconsistency with the watering. That was the smallest one. Yeah, okay. That's close as we're going to come.
Okay.
So
That's
the
outdoor.
greenhouse and that's the outdoor.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Should have labelled
It's
it.
like the cups game.
The thing is, it doesn't matter if you label it because you pick things up and move them. Right. Now, we had a taste of these before.
Which one is this? But you're not going to tell me.
And no, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to see.
Dude, that's got so much more flavour.
Yeah.
That tastes like tomato.
Also, the skin on these feels a little bit thicker.
Mm-hmm.
So probably less likely to split.
That's got more.
That's got kick. Can you tell which was indoor and outdoor?
No.
The second one was the outdoor one, the one with more kick.
Okay.
But here's a weird thing. When we did this for the Patreons last week,
Might have been.
Yeah.
Probably last week.
the outdoor
Was
Lata was super sweet, not acidic in the slightest. And the one in the greenhouse was acidic, tasted like most of our tomatoes. It wasn't super sweet this time.
It's had another week on the plant.
Yeah.
Weird. But definitely both way more flavour.
Oh god, yeah, look at the state of that one.
Ow. It's alright, I'll cook with it tomorrow.
Right, okay. So I'm going to taste the same tomatoes but bigger ones. So, that is the outdoor one. No, that's the greenhouse. And this is the outdoor one. So, again, it feels firmer. Outdoors. That's sweeter. The bigger one has definitely got a sweetness to it. It's really nice. Much softer. Much more acidic.
But thinner skins because it's a slightly bigger one, so it's had more time to.
So, it is that whole, is it just time on the plant? Mm-hmm. Now, the rock caption, we don't have an outdoor one yet to compare. But we haven't tried these yet either.
Have we not tried those at all? But we're not supposed to be, no, we've been eating the other ones.
Thing with these, this is the one that caused all the problems with how to pronounce it. So it's rock caption, and it means little red hood. So a lot of people were saying Little Red Riding Hood, Little Red Hood, Little Red Bonnet. That's the kind of name it means.
Oh yeah.
You have a small amount of German, don't you? Now, this has got a lot of flesh.
Mm.
Can almost say it's like a paste tomato, like the type you could make sauce from.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to strain that too much.
I don't like that. It's quite watery, earthy.
I was going to say mine didn't really taste very much of anything.
And they are quite big. I was expecting cherries and they're more kind of salad sized. Let's try another one just in case, because sometimes you get nuts.
Yeah, and some tomatoes work better in something like make it, like you say, make a sauce with it, or
I really don't like these.
it's a bit. Have we got 8 million plants of these, or have we just got one? Just 2.
But the greenhouse plant's quite big. So that was the other thing I found. The greenhouse plants, I was expecting, like we grew before, little dwarf plants about that size, quite bushy, a lot of cherries on them. And that was the photos on the site I bought the seeds from. They don't look anything like that. Ours are really tall. They're not proper bush, but they're not big tall cordon either. They're like a very short cordon. You've let 4 or 5. Excuse me, vines grow on it. It's weird. But yeah. So, rock caption, not impressed.
No.
Olapoka, yeah, not really impressed. Lata, quite happy with that. Do like them. They're just weird the way they grow. It's basically going for the ground in the greenhouse.
Yes. And because we've got it down quite low, they're getting quite close to the floor.
Yes.
So you can't really. It's bizarrely harder to see the tomatoes on them because they're lower down.
Yeah, because the rest are all kind of eye.
So it would probably want to put on a
put it on the bench at the back
with the peppers. That way you could see the tomatoes better.
Yeah. But there you go.
Hello, Penny. You don't eat tomatoes, darling.
That was our tomato taste test. And
bye. No. No. You have to click to subscribe, click the bell to get notified, and do a thumbs up if you liked it. Did I get that
well
right?
done, you. You're almost as good as Parker. Next week we're going to be sowing lots of seeds, thinking about autumn and winter.
Cool.
Excellent.
See you guys.
See you guys.